Hey everyone, Alexa here, back with another recipe for you. This is the sourdough rye sandwich bread recipe. Many of you were asking for this recipe, so I hope you enjoy it. It's delicious with notes of molasses and of course the earthy rye flavor. We have really enjoyed it and I know you will too. So let's go ahead and get started. So if you're looking to make your own sandwich bread, there's a few really good options and rye bread is one of them. I also have a seeded whole wheat sandwich bread on my blog, and I've shared it on YouTube here as well. But rye bread is really yummy, I found, when I discovered rye bread several months ago. It's got an earthy taste, it's very dense, which is why you only use 25% rye flour in the recipe, although the bread itself tastes like you did 100%. It's really very powerful. Rye is high in fiber and micronutrients, B vitamins, and small amounts of zinc, magnesium, calcium, and other nutrients. It makes bread just that much healthier for you. And then when you add sourdough to it and long ferment it, of course the fermentation process strips some of the phytic acid off of the grain, which makes it easier to digest, especially for grain sensitive people. The recipe is on my blog, theduvallhomestead.com. You can scroll to the bottom and then press the print button, and that would let you have it, on your countertop. If you're new to bread making entirely, I strongly suggest you print it off. That's what I did when I was a beginner, because the bread making process just takes a little bit of practice, like anything else, to get used to, and it seems a little bit daunting at first. I remember my first time printing it out. But once you get used to it, it's very, very simple and you don't need to follow directions anymore. You just need a recipe. So if this is your first loaf, please go print those out. If not, here is the recipe and you'll probably be able to figure it out from there. So I use 3/4 cup active bubbly sourdough starter. And I feed my starter with 1 cup flour and 3/4 cup water. And then I let it sit until doubled in size. So this is important because I'm just giving you my consistency of my starter. Some people have a more watery starter, some people have a thicker starter. I like the 1 cup flour to 3/4 cup water ratio. It should be thick, it should not be a runny starter. You know your starter is ready when a spoonful of starter floats in a cup of water. Now do not stir your sourdough starter before taking the spoonful. A lot of people stir it and it will actually just deflate the starter, so you don't need to stir it. Okay, so to that you're gonna add 1.5 cups filtered warm water, 1.5 teaspoons salt, 4 tablespoons of softened butter. Now here I kind of smush the butter, cut it into cubes. You can do that if the butter is really soft, but recently I've been experimenting with actually melting the butter and then letting that melted butter cool. And that's a little easier because then the butter is a lot easier to incorporate into the dough. So I would suggest doing that. And then 1 to 2 tablespoons of sugar or honey, 1 tablespoon of molasses. And for all of those ingredients, you're going to whisk it together with a fork. The molasses gives a nice complement to the earthy flavor that is the rye bread. So to that, you're going to add 3 cups of all-purpose or bread flour and then 1 cup of rye flour. You're going to do some stretch and folds on the dough. Like I said, the full instructions are in the blog post, but basically, you lift up one corner of the dough, put it towards the center, rotate 90 degrees, lift up the other corner, stretch it, bring it down to the center. Now, your dough is going to look shaggy and possibly dense at first, and this is okay. The gluten will develop over time and create a more spongy dough. You can do anywhere from 2 to 4 stretch and folds here. Because this is not a typical round loaf, I find that you can get away with doing less stretch and folds for sandwich bread, which makes it a little bit easier to make. It's a little less time, even though the stretch and folds really don't take that much time on your schedule. But if you are out for the evening or something, you can get away with a little bit less. I'm going to long ferment this in the fridge overnight, covering it with plastic first and then putting it in the fridge. The next day I'm going to take it out of the fridge, let it come to room temperature, and then do 1 more stretch and fold and put it back in the sandwich tin and let it rise again. Now, the warmer your house, the quicker it will rise and the better this will be in general. So if you can keep this on your stove where it's already warm, that'd be great. If it's, winter time, then keep it from a fireplace or something like that. Don't get it too hot, but keep it nice and warm if you want a really nice loaf. If it's already summertime and your house is already in the 70s, you're fine keeping it on the counter. I love serving this for breakfast with honey butter on top because it's already a pretty earthy, loaf. Honey butter is such a nice complement to this recipe. This is one of my family's newest and favorite breakfast, lunch, or really any time of day. Because there are more nutrients in this recipe, I will pull this bread out in the afternoon and just eat it as a snack, maybe with peanut butter, or again, just honey or honey peanut butter, or both. So good. I hope you enjoy this rye sandwich bread recipe. I had several of you ask for the recipe for this rye sandwich bread, so I hope that you enjoy it. And I am totally on the rye train, so if you are enjoying rye these days, I'm with you. If you're brand new to my channel, please hit that subscribe button. Every week I post a new video on farm-to-table recipes and homemade natural living. Thank you so much for stopping by the Duvall Homestead.